Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Real Estate on the Rocks. My name is Dave Snowberger. I'm your host for today's show, and I'm joined in the studio with Marshall Tucker.
How's it going?
James Mendez, also the new guy in the studio. Today we're going to be going over, what's the topic?
Our topic today is 10 core building blocks to a solid foundation in real estate.
Nice. We should go to 10 core building blocks to do an actual podcast where we know what we're talking about. That's the next one. All right, here we go. All right, number one on the list, embrace that profit is the product. I hear a lot that I see this on social media all the time, arguments going back and forth that people don't do this for money. People do this because, they're of service to other people and they're there to help people with transactions and do all this stuff, and it's not for money. What do you think about that statement?
It's only true for one of two things. Either one, somebody else is floating the bill and you're just doing it for
it's a hobby.
On the side,
hobby.
On a hobby,
You're
as
a
a hobby, or you're doing it temporarily because you won't last long enough to continue to do it.
Right, because it sounds to me like you're building a nonprofit business, and typically if nonprofit businesses aren't funded by somebody else or some other third party, you're gonna kind of be dead in the water after a few transactions, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. You almost threw me out of the car one time.
Yeah, Marshall and I think we told the story before, but we were driving down 35, and I said something to him, and he looks at me and he says, "Dave, money's not that important to me."
And mind you, I just came from a salaried job, just getting money, and it was a hobby for me.
Yeah, real estate was definitely a hobby, and I recruited Marshall in because he was young and naive and he needed some guidance, and I was like, okay, I got this guy, here we go. So we're driving on the road, getting to know each other a little bit better. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this for the profit, and I just almost pulled over and like, get the F out of my car. You can walk back and think about that statement all the way back to pick up your car.
Dave, I don't have any money for the Uber.
Yeah, that's why you're going to walk, And if I didn't know that you carried, I probably would have done that.
Get out. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Right. All right, number two. So let's go back to number one real quick. Embrace that profit is a product. There's nothing wrong with profit. Profit's not evil. Money's not evil. Money is what makes the world go around. Money and time are the two most important things in your life. Money enables you to buy more time so you can achieve your goals. Yep. So you can have more family time. You can have more time. Those things that make you happy. So get that straight, that right off the top. And then what is profit? That's not just the money you make off the deal, right? So I would have yourself something going to where you were able to take a little off of every paycheck that comes in. So $250, $500, $1,000 every transaction you do, that can be considered profit. Yeah. And so right off the top, always pay yourself first. Right. And so pay yourself whatever you set moving forward, that is your rake off the top, that goes into your profit, that goes into your bank account to save money, that goes towards the things that you want to do, the maybe your big why. Maybe it's a trip to Disney with your family. Maybe it's a new car.
Maybe it's both.
Maybe it's a new iPhone.
Dang.
Maybe it's an iPad. You never know, but you're never going to get there when you're putting yourself in debt, putting it on a card or anything else like that. So profit building is a big deal. Everybody agrees? Yeah,
because before I just take my paychecks and just put them all in the bank, and we just spend through it. Tax time come around, didn't have any money for the taxes, wasn't putting money aside from education, and it was just a poor way to manage the money. So now everything comes out. Some goes into savings, some goes into checking, some goes into my business account, and things stay a lot more organized, and I keep a lot more of my money.
Sounds like the envelope system from like Dave Ramsey.
Yeah. Well, we listen to Dave Ramsey, so.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Can't figure out how that works.
Nailed it on the head. All right, so never buy anything that's with that profit. Never buy anything for your business that can be perceived as the easy button. The easy button in this business doesn't exist. It exists short term, I believe. And I think it exists maybe to launch you. Sometimes people feel that I bought leads for the first 2 years and then I got into action and whatever else. Sometimes that case is the exception, not the rule. The rule typically is the ROI on buying the easy button is typically about negative 34%. When I talk about the easy button, I'm talking about what? Zillow or ZTR, right? Zillow, Truly, or Realtor.com. Redfin. Some people still do Redfin in some markets. They don't have their own agents, so they can still do Redfin. Any kind of what?
Lead source, like websites and marketing conversion sites. I made several $1,000 mistake on that one, thinking that they're going to, do this great marketing. It's going to feed a lot of leads in. I'll work on those. Oh, it was horrible.
You never told me about these.
It's because they don't really exist. I just pay for it or paid for it. Cancel that thing. But it seemed to hit some of the things like the website and conversion and MLS in my or IDX feed into my Facebook page. Had some great options, but nothing really panned out. But there's also Facebook and Instagram and other social media marketing campaigns that are going to give you great leads, super cheap, or a free hack to get all these leads, and they turn out to be just trash.
And we've had people come up in the past and argue the fact, and I know somebody really well, no names here. However, the majority of everything he does is Zillow. And every Facebook post or anything that comes out against Zillow, he's always there to defend it with a few others of how they do great with Zillow. That's fine. However, it's the easy button. Once again, right? Yeah. So if the market turns and takes a shift, I mean, we're already seeing the online leads go away. They're structuring them a little bit differently now. They're going to have to pay a little bit more money for them. I mean,
a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, ZTR. those are for-profit businesses. Exactly what you should be. They're for-profit. So why shouldn't you be? However, I get this argument all the time: is it how great they are? There'll be 100 posts, but 2 people will say they're great. So obviously it's what? It's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
The rule is, the numbers state, we got a lot of smart people out there crunching numbers. I'm sure I think there was a study on Inman that we quoted a while back that was a negative 34 return on your investment.
Ouch.
That hurts.
Yeah.
That's not the way to get profitable in this business. Okay. So easy button things are out. IDX, websites, things like that. Like, I think it's good to have a website for somebody to go to get to know you. However, it doesn't have to be one of these expensive IDX websites. We've lost, as agents, as realtors, we've lost the search game. The search game is over, right? It's what we do after the search game to get them from Zillow, to get them from Trulia to Realtor to Redfin over to us. That's the bridge. And then typically how we bridge those people. If they're on an island over here with Zillow and we're on an island over here with the actual keys to the door, it's like, how do we bridge that gap right there? And so we have to work towards that. And there's nothing easy about that. No. So that's labor. That's open houses. That's, meeting people out in public. And I don't care if you search property on Zillow. I have people all the time that send me stuff on Redfin, like, oh, check this one out. And I don't scold them. Yeah. And say, don't send me Redfin. I have the MLS. I don't do that. Let them look at Redfin. That's their trusted source. That's their go-to. And then I'm their trusted source when it's time to go view property. Right?
Facilitate the deal, to do the actual work of being an agent.
And that's when I kick in from the functionary standpoint of a website to a fiduciary realtor, which we'll be talking about fiduciaries in one of the next few episodes coming up, or might be a few past, wherever you're starting these episodes at.
Speaking of the easy button and those IDX leads, I know when we first started, having a few of those come in, our hunting or prospecting kind of went down. We started getting a little bit more lazy, sitting around waiting for the business to come in. And really, the only way your business can grow is to throw more money at it to bring in more business. So it's better.
That's what they want you to think.
It's better to go hunt it and proactively get it yourself and save your money.
Right, man. I like you just said that with like conviction.
Yeah.
Look at Marshall.
Save your money.
About to throw down in the podcast studio.
About to smash the microphone.
Go find your own leads.
Damn it. Okay, so next one on the list here is accept that listings are the key to longevity and a profitable career in real estate. Listings are where it's at. I don't know how many. I see them out there. I see buyer's agents that are 105 years old showing property in 100-degree heat, going from home to home, meeting clients around. Like, I'm sorry. I have mad respect. However, I don't want to do that. So I learned early in my career from some very successful people that paved the road for me that I realized I realized that people have already paved the road for us. We don't have to invent anything. We just have to go do the work, right? And so if I went out and I perfected listings, if I got my pitch down, if I got my what's that called, the value thing,
Value proposition.
Value proposition. If I perfected the value proposition and I came up with something that I actually believed and felt was valuable, that I would be a good listing agent.
Yeah.
Right. And so that shows with our career. Out of 100 deals, we lean heavy towards sellers, right? And so sellers able us to take more business. How many buyers can you actually take per month to not drive yourself absolutely insane and overwork yourself?
It's significantly less than listings, that's for sure.
I would say 3 versus 30.
Right.
I can take 30 listings by myself, and it's good to have an admin and everything else. However, if I wanted to work 24/7, I could take 30 listings in a month for sure.
Yeah.
Versus after about 3 to 4 buyers, my hair's on fire. And I'm having a hard time keeping it all together. And it gets hard, And so this is why I push on you guys a lot. And a lot of people that we talk to in our coaching program is that we tell people, man, you've got to learn to become a listing agent. Like Marshall, I think you struggle with that a little bit. I mean, I think that what you've done over the past 4 years is work at a high level with buyers. And it's been hard to break that habit because that's your wheelhouse. Right. Is that you are a fiduciary to buyers. You do bring up the things that most agents I would think aren't doing, the reasons why, let's talk about the fiduciary real quick. The reasons why that they should buy the house or they maybe even shouldn't buy the house. Just because you're qualified for $300,000 doesn't mean you should spend $300,000.
Exactly. Right.
And so, are they looking for a house? Are they looking for a home? Are they looking for their dream home? Are
they all in, or do they want some money left over to do other things in life? Right.
And you're really good at qualifying all that stuff. And so that's become, once again, to not overstate the term, but that's your wheelhouse. Right. You are a buyer's agent extraordinaire.
But you can only have so many of those, as you were saying.
How do I?
Everyone wants to see it on the weekend. So next thing you know, you got 4 or 5 people on the weekend. You can't do them all. You need help.
As your team leader, as your friend, and as a trusted ally in your business, my job is to really make you see your full potential and move from good to great. Right, to drop a bunch of quaint little terms in here. However, to keep it great and to keep you profitable, which in the long run will give you that time you're looking for to deserve, that you deserve to spend more time with your family, to do more things, to vacation more, and all that right now can be front loaded with all the hard work you're doing. But once you transition into doing more, does that make sense?
Right.
If you can take more listings, you can certainly,
leverage my time to be able to do the other things that I need to do.
Right. You can raise your thermostat to where, more money would be coming in for you to make these things easy. You're never going to really be able to escape the work. As realtors, none of us are going to get wealthy selling real estate.
Nope.
It goes back to the number one thing right there is embrace the profit. We'll get wealthy off the profit, what we do with the profits, what we invest those in. Do we invest those into
properties?
Yeah. Investments,
stocks,
properties, maybe stock, maybe a business, we know plenty of realtors that have side businesses that do anything from barbershops to barbecue to there you go.
Shameless plug.
Moving on. All right. So number 4 here, accept that doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at a high level is the only way to create that sustainable business.
Yeah.
It's the only way. You can't buy your way to the top.
Nope. No one else is going to have those conversations for you.
That's not sustainable. Right. And so, and it kind of ties into number 5 here. So I'll just kind of put it all together. But doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it is the only way to the sustainable business. And by doing what you don't want to do, those are typically the boring activities, the predictable, slow, steady activities that have been proven time and time again to be the most successful activities we can be doing to add more profit to our business.
You know what that just reminded me of? There's a saying we say in the military all the time, embrace the suck. And it's a different one because this is more mindset or mentally challenging than physical, because we're used to obviously much more physical stuff. And that pain is almost addictive to go out there and be like, no, this is going to be worse than the next time or than the last time. And you just keep going for that. And that just kind of clicked reading that again, that's what you should be, striving for is enjoying that pain or the suffering of those challenging activities to keep going. So
Right.
to
It's that
It's like
monotonous
go
work.
for no.
Yeah, it's like go for no. Keep going from the no. The more no's you get, the closer you get to what? A yes, right?
Right.
So that's a great book right there. Pick that book up if that was Marshall's book recommendation for the day. Go for no. All right, so let's move on. So we know that the boring activities, doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it, and the predictable, slow, steady stuff is the way to be more successful. It sounds counterintuitive, however, it's what works. And so that leads us to number 6, which is get over the fact that you don't need passion to thrive on the day-to-day. You wrote that out really weird. However, what's that last thing say? The
end goal.
The end goal.
So when you said that, and then the next one too, what I heard, I didn't agree with, but what you meant, I completely agree with. It's not, you're never going to you want to have something you're passionate about that gets you up in the morning, you enjoy it's just, a good life you're living, and it gives you the opportunity for growth. You're not going to enjoy the uncomfortable, taxing kind of things that you do that are part of that day. Like the phone calls or the, 15 million different text messages and then emails and looking up, this property or that property, and you're not really it's doing the work. You have to do it, but that's not really exciting. The exciting part is, going showing houses or negotiating contracts. That's great. The result of what you can do when you get paid and the growth you have in that's exciting. That's something you can be passionate about.
Right. And where I was coming from was that a lot of people identify that they don't want to do the things that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to do or embrace the suck because they're not passionate about it.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to be passionate about any of that stuff. And I think we had brought that up earlier, that if you were a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or a garbage man or whichever else, I could see someone being passionate about baking. I like baked goods. I can be a barista. They might be passionate, maybe not if you work for, one of the big box brand baristas where, you're just going in there and you're dealing with crappy people in the morning and whatever else that are rude and bitch about you, spell their name wrong on a cup or whatever else.
Marshall has 2 L's.
Yeah, that probably doesn't give you, that's not long-term passion. It's probably a passion project when they first started becoming a barista. Oh, this is cool. I get to learn how to make all this stuff, and I can, in the froth, I can do a little heart and
that is
all these
pretty
things,
cool.
and I can post it on Instagram and get 75 likes and all that stuff. And I'm sure that's passion. But however, I think people, once again, to use the term, people's thermostats change, and then that passion wears off, and so they leave to something else. And so that's what this is about. I think when you come into this business, a lot of times you have a deal attached to you, right? So you have a relative, you have a parent, you have a friend, somebody that wants to use you, and right off the bat, it is easy to be passionate about this job because you just made 3% of 300,000. You just made $9,000. So after broker splits and everything else, blah, 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 you get a nice little fat check. However, you don't realize that fat little check has to last you.
The hard part was finding the lead, and that was a handout.
Right. And so, after that, after your 1, 2, 3 friends are gone out of the business, no one really comes to this business lined up that has, a year or two worth of business behind them.
No.
Ready to go. And so they have to go out, and they lose that passion rather quickly, I think, after those first initial deals are done. Then they find out oh crap, I have to work
a lot.
Every day I got to wake up early and grind.
Yeah. And so there's you got to have the passion for the outcome. Yeah. Is where I'm at. It's like the day-to-day activities suck. Mm-hmm. I don't want to wake up in the morning and go to Orange Theory. Sucks, but I like the outcome of how it makes me feel.
And I can relate this to my previous, working in the barbecue restaurant, 12-hour days, just being locked in those 4 walls, knowing that my kids were at the park with my wife, and I'm like, man, I wish I could be at the park. It's a job, and I wasn't passionate about what I was doing. You get into real estate, there's great moments. It's still not necessarily passionate about everything, but when I'm at the park now with my kids, because I have that freedom, that flexibility, that's when I say, man, I'm making the right choices. I'm passionate about the freedom that it gives me.
For sure. Mm-hmm. A lot of times don't realize that. They have to, people have to take a step back and look at it. We were talking about a story earlier where I was listening to another podcast, and some guy was talking about how he lives in a beach town, and he's real perplexed by this light he has to sit at every single day. And this guy's from wherever, Midwest America, where he grew up with nothing. And, now he lives in a small little beach town. And if he looks over to the right, there's the ocean. And he's just, every day finding himself getting pissed off and cussing at people and waving his hands around or whatever else. And he's like, man, hold on, bring it back.
I have to look at this beach every day.
You know, like I should be happy. Look at what I'm doing. Look what I'm upset about, that I sit here at a light that takes 30 seconds too long, or people stop in the middle of the intersection and he misses the next light. When he looks over to the right, there's the beautiful ocean. Mm-hmm. There's people running by him and jogging and doing all those things, and people forget about that stuff. You know, and so
anyway, get caught up in your surroundings.
It's easy, and then you identify that it's not your passion. Let me see here. Reject the idea that you need to be happy. That goes right along with the last one.
Right.
So the happiness thing. You know, I'm just not happy doing this. Oh. You know. Oh.
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff you're not supposed to make isn't supposed to make you happy. Like we said earlier, it's the end result. The being able to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them is part of being happy. You're able to.
It's moments. There's moments in everything.
Yeah, those little victories, like you negotiated a hard deal and you got a big win for your clients, or now you can buy an investment property.
Or you had a great conversation where you just slayed it with the words.
Yeah.
You know?
There's tons of happy points and victories and stuff you can.
Or you help somebody, miss out on foreclosing on their house and was able to save their credit or whatever.
Really, that's it right there, is that the happy is typically the outcome. It's not the activities during the work that are going to make you happy. Like, no one's happy in our world showing up to every day. Like, Marshall doesn't walk in like, hey, fellas.
Actually, I kind of do.
Let's do some lead prospecting. Let's do some prospecting. Let's make 100 phone calls. And, as a sales manager, that's how I want him to be. I want him to walk into the room and say, hey, let's get pumped and all this stuff. And I realize, being the person that's done that stuff for a long time, and I still prospect, it's like, it sucks. It doesn't make me happy to do it. But you know what makes me happy? Going to Florida with my family.
Boom.
Going to watercolor with my family and hanging out on the beach and really eating at some of the best restaurants in the world and doing those things, that make me happy. I know that if I have to do 100 hours of shit work, that make me unhappy, that something good's going to come out of that. 10 hours of happiness will come out of that. Mm-hmm. So that's how I look at it. Work is hard because it's work.
That's right.
Your job in life is to be of service to others. It's hard.
It's another 4-letter word.
It's work. So all three of these, they go the passion, the happiness, and now let's just drill it down to work is hard. It's called work for a reason. We talked about bakers earlier, or baristas. Yeah. There's some aspect of their job that's hard. Mm-hmm. It's much harder to be the garbage man that I brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's much harder to dig ditches. It's much harder to be a road crew. It's much harder to build homes than it is to sell them.
Yes, backbreaking work.
Do you think that the guys out there swinging hammers at 100 degrees, want to be out there? Or would they rather be on our side that we constantly bitch about?
We dig the occasional hole, but
but we even bought machines to do that. Yeah. So we got rid of the shovels, and once we could afford it, we replaced that with an auger. Right. And so
time to level up.
Now our what do you call it? The thermostat has changed again. We're like, man, and holding this auger all day.
Really? So it's all day, which is like 10 minutes to dig one hole.
I can picture this conversation happening. You do like, no, I can't do it.
Dude, last time we were out there, I was hanging up, it was a big ranch I was selling, and I was putting up a big sign, and it was probably about 100 degrees outside. And I was on like the keto diet, and I was really taking in no food whatsoever. Very limited. No, I was on ideal protein diet.
I think you were fasting, weren't you?
It was something, but man, I was out there drinking green tea in the heat. Got the Yeti cooler in the back of the truck, drinking green tea, about to just die, and Marshall's over there looking like he's going to die, and I know that he just came
Sweat
from
just
having
pouring
like
off
a
my
big
house.
barbecue lunch and like all these things.
Barbecue coming out the pores.
Like I had no energy to even lift anything, and we got it done. But
then we dig the holes and we're over too far, and then we had to move like 4 inches over.
Yeah, that's when the state came by and said, "Yeah, you missed the line by 4 inches."
Oh my God. That's awesome.
Okay. Become the best at something. So all that's done. Now we realize that we have to work towards all this stuff. It's not going to make us happy, and it doesn't have to be our passion. So now we just, need to become the best at something. I would recommend becoming the best listing agent possible if you're going to stay in real estate. Be the best listing agent possible. Discover your value proposition. Realize why people want to work with you. What problems can you solve at a high level, and become the best. the best for you. You don't have to be the best in the business. You don't have to be number one in Austin or Boston or LA or New York. It's not how this works. Stay in your own lane. Become the best version of you, the best listing agent. There's something that conveys every time you meet with somebody and shake someone's hand and look them in the eye, they know they want to do business with you.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
It does.
Buyer's agent. Marshall, you've embraced that. Yeah, you've embraced that. You've become the best buyer's agent you can be. I'm sure there's things you could do better.
Right.
I don't know what they are because from outside looking in, you're pretty tight on your job. You're pretty clean.
It didn't start off that way. I mean,
Right. It was a compound effect. It got better and better and better over time, right?
And I harp on education all the time. So if I didn't know, I had a client hit me up about HUD homes. So I took a course online on HUD homes. I had someone hit me up about foreclosures. So I went up there and studied foreclosures. Anytime I get something that I didn't know, I went and took a class on it. And it helped me at my end of my 2 years because I didn't even need to take those extra classes for my license again. So I was already ahead of the game on that. And just continuously staying up on contracts and the laws has really helped out.
Right. Perfect.
Gives you confidence too.
Great example. This guy, Marshall Tucker. Look him up on Facebook. Send him all your referrals.
Yes, please.
He'll treat your buyers right.
The agent Marshall Tucker, not the band.
Yeah.
Rockstar Marshall.
The agent rockstar. All right. So last one. Let's wrap this up real quick. Everything that you just heard is designed to keep you in motion. All right. Inactivity is emotion. Mm-hmm. All right. So if you don't work out, you become out of shape. Right.
Right.
If you don't wash your face, you get zits. I don't know.
It's the compound effect. So if you lay off lead generating for one day, it's easy to lay off it the next day. It's easier to lay off it the day after that. Next thing you know, you're taking a week of not really making your calls. 3 months later, 4 months later, 5 months later, you're struggling and rushing out there, calling everybody in the world, but who's already bought with someone else, or they're no longer interested, or whatever.
Yeah, so we've all been through that. Where I'll just call him tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll call him tomorrow.
Stay in motion. Do your things every day.
I had it last week actually. What was it? I had somebody reach out to me on Facebook. I don't work with buyers that much. However, they reached out through Facebook and they said, hey, we really want to use you. Here's an address for you to look at. So I sent him something and I sent him the information. And then she, I guess, thought maybe there was more information out there. So she went on Zillow and she hit something and she put her information. She said 2 agents actually called. I was like, that blows me away that any agents called you, period, off of Zillow. However, one guy started the process like, yeah, hey, I'm getting qualified with him and doing all this stuff. And I was like, oh, well. I just kind of had to backtrack her up real quick. And she's like, is he from your office? Like, she didn't understand the process. And so I had explained it to her a little bit, and she's like, oh my God, give me a second. So she called that other agent and said, hey, I'm already working with somebody. I'm sorry. I thought you were with his office. Yeah. So
I'm going 3 deep on the questions.
Anyway, it sounds similar to the story I had.
Idiot. Oh, geez. So everything you here is designed to keep you in motion. Stay in motion. Keep up with the consistency. Everything that you're doing now, if it's not working for you, keep beating your head against the wall until you have a breakthrough, in some more bold terms here. But you got to have a breakdown before you have a breakthrough. But if you do all these activities right here and you get the idea out of your head that you need to be happy, get the idea out of your head that you have to have a passion, get the idea out of your head that you have to have a big why. You don't have to have a big why. A lot of these terms out here are just those socialistic virtual virtue signaling behaviors that society is telling you that you have to do your job at a high level. You don't. You just have to stay consistent, embrace the suck, and keep moving towards the goal of profit, which will, I guarantee you, with more money and especially more time on your hands, will make you happy and give you that passion to keep it going down the road.
Oh, yeah.
Make sense?
Yep.
Tied it all in. Boom.
Boom.
Light it on fire. Let's get the hell out of here. Mike Harrell, guaranteed rate.
Ninja.
Mortgage Ninja. Lending Ninja, whatever we're calling him these days. Mike Harrell called us the other day. He said he loves what we're doing with the show, and he's so glad that he's going to come soon and be a guest on it to spread the gospel to everyone about working with buyers and loans and what the best loans are for buyers out there. I think our community out here of Top Shelf agents and some rookie agents out there really don't know the process, and hopefully Mike can break that down for us. So somewhere in one of these episodes out there, look for Mike Harrell. Top Shelf agents. You can text Top Shelf to 88,000. and that will send directly to one of our phones, and we will get back to you with any questions you have, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show. 5-star reviews. We haven't talked about 5-star reviews in a while. We've dropped the ball on that. So we don't want 3-star reviews. We don't want 4-star reviews. We would love 5-star reviews. We would like 5-star reviews. As soon as you start listening to the next podcast that's coming up in about 10 seconds, go ahead and pop in there and leave us a 5-star review and maybe even a comment. That's how Apple and a lot of other podcast carriers determine who listens to us and how we broaden our audience. So please leave us that 5-star review. We certainly appreciate it. You can reach out to us on also on Facebook.
Yep. Top Shelf Agents group. We're in there. If you have any questions or comments, you want to bounce some ideas off people. It's a great community whose whole focus is broadening everyone's horizons and the growth and stability of your business. So in a great environment that's not going to start tearing people down and being trashy.
Very articulate. I wish I was that articulate. I have a hard time even getting words out of my mouth.
Me too.
Especially this early in the morning. Okay, so let's wrap it up. I really appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Real Estate on the Rocks.
I'm out.
Go.